I was 33 years old when I finally understood that the people you trust most are the ones who can destroy you the fastest. My name is Marcus, and I'm 65 years old. If I could sit across from my younger self right now, I don't know if I'd warn him or just let him burn, because maybe he needed to. I grew up believing friendship was sacred. My old man used to say loyalty was everything. So when Tommy walked into my life sophomore year of college, I thought I'd found my brother. We finished each other's sentences, stayed up until 3 in the morning, talking about the businesses we'd build, the life we'd create. I trusted him the way you trust gravity. By the time we were 26, we'd started that business. A small contracting company, nothing fancy, but it was ours. We shook hands on a 50-50 split. Never got it in writing. Why would we? We were brothers. There was a girl back then, too. Melissa. Every guy wanted her. That should have been my first clue. She had this laugh that made rooms go quiet. But she also had a temper that could crack concrete. I saw it early. The way she'd flip over small things. How she needed constant attention. I was young and stupid and thought I could handle it. I thought love was supposed to be hard. We moved in together after 8 months. My mom said it was too soon. I didn't listen. And then, nothing. Just years passing like water through your hands. I spent my late 20s working 16-hour days building that company with Tommy. Coming home to Melissa, who'd be angry I worked too much. Then angry I didn't make enough money. I'd see red flags, the way she'd flirt with other guys when she was mad at me, how she talked about her exes too much. But I stayed, because leaving felt like admitting failure. Meanwhile, Tommy started making decisions without me. Small ones at first, then bigger. I'd find out about contracts after he'd signed them, about expenses after the money was gone. I kept a photo on my desk back then. Me and Tommy at the business launch party. Both of us, holding cheap beer, grinning like we'd already won. I looked at that photo every single day. By 31, I was engaged to Melissa. She'd pushed for it. I proposed because it felt like the next step, not because I was sure. The ring sat in my jacket pocket for 2 weeks before I actually asked. That should have told me everything. The turning point came on a Tuesday. I showed up at the office and the locks were changed. Tommy had drained the business account, transferred the vendor contracts into his name only, and filed paperwork removing me as co-owner. Everything we'd built for 5 years. Gone. He'd been planning it for months. Our lawyer said I had no case because we never formalized anything in writing. That night, I sat in my car outside the empty office for 3 hours. I called Melissa. She said I was overreacting, that I should have seen it coming. Then she hung up. Just the sound of my own breathing in a dark parking lot. I went home, and she was packing. Not because of Tommy. She'd been cheating for 6 months with a guy from her gym. She said I was never around anyway, that I cared more about the business than her. Maybe she was right. Maybe I did. But she'd already checked out long before Tommy did. Within 3 weeks, I lost my business, my best friend, my fiancé, and my apartment. I was 33 years old and had nothing but a duffel bag in my truck. I moved into my sister's basement. That's where I found the photo again. Me and Tommy at the launch party. I tore it up and threw it in the trash. Then I pulled it back out and kept it. I still have it, taped together. I don't know why. The next 2 years were brutal. I worked construction for another guy's company. Saved every dollar. Stopped going out and stopped drinking. Stopped trusting anyone. My old friends would call, ask me to hang out. I'd say no. They stopped calling. I watched from the outside as people I knew from high school, the ones who'd stayed focused, started buying houses, started families, built careers. They'd spent their 20s grinding while I partied and chased the wrong things and trusted the wrong people. I didn't date. Couldn't. Every time I met someone, all I saw were Melissa's red flags and different faces. But something shifted. The pain started to feel like fuel. By 36, I'd saved enough to start over. Solo this time. No partners, no shortcuts. I built a small renovation business from nothing. Just me and a crew I paid well and kept at arm's length. I worked 7 days a week for 3 years straight. The money came. By 40, I had more in the bank than Tommy and I ever made together. I owned 2 rental properties. I drove a truck I paid cash for. I had a reputation in town for showing up and doing the work. But here's what nobody tells you. Winning after you've lost everything doesn't feel like winning. It feels like proof that you wasted the best years of your life learning lessons you should have known at 20. The business grew through my 40s and 50s. I sold it 6 years ago for more money than I ever dreamed of back in Tommy's basement office. I could have retired then, but I kept working, consulting, helping other contractors avoid the mistakes I made, keeping my hands busy because idle time makes you remember too much. I met someone 7 years ago, Sarah. She's a teacher. We've been living together for 4 years now. I made myself wait, made myself watch for the red flags, made myself build it right this time. We got married last spring. Small ceremony, just family. I have a wife who actually knows me and stays anyway. I own my home outright. No debt, no partners, no risk of someone taking what I built. But late at night, I still think about those lost years. The decade I gave to people who didn't deserve a month. The time I can't get back. Then, just the sound of the ceiling fan and Sarah breathing next to me. I don't regret the pain. It made me sharp. It made me careful. It taught me that loyalty is earned slowly and lost instantly. That love without wisdom is just expensive chaos. That your closest circle can become your greatest wound. But I do regret the time. 32 years have passed since that Tuesday. I've built more in those 3 decades than most people build in a lifetime. But I can't stop doing the math. If I'd walked away from Melissa the first time she showed me who she was, if I'd gotten that partnership agreement in writing, if I'd spent my 20s building instead of coasting, I'd have had 40 years instead of 32. Maybe kids, maybe grandkids by now. You don't get to go back. You only get to carry what you learned forward. So here's what I know now, not as advice, but as truth, bought with real cost. The people closest to you have the most power to hurt you. Choose them like your life depends on it, because it does. Red flags don't go away. They multiply. And time is the one thing you can lose that you can never earn back. If you're young right now, watching everyone else party and drift and waste years on people who don't see them, don't follow them. Learn the lessons now while the cost is still low. And if you're older like me, carrying the weight of years you can't reclaim, I need you to hear this. You didn't waste it all. You learned something that most people never do. You learned what matters. Now do something with it. If this story hit you, drop a comment and tell me what you'd do differently if you could go back. Share this with someone who's still figuring it out. And subscribe, because we're all just trying to make sense of the time we have left. But how you use what's left is still up to you.